Okay, students, wish you all a very good evening. Can all hear me? Oshani, who is this? Pavani? I haven't registered. Pavani Buddhima, Pavani Buddhima, right. And Sanuka and Shanuka. Good evening to all. Can all hear me? Hmm? Right. Good. Today, there's a small problem today. That is, right, since morning there is kind of a power, right, related renovation is going on in our area. So still we don't have received power. So just few amount of batteries remaining in my laptop also. But I thought of conducting the session, with whatever the power which is available for me, right? And students, last week we started the 11 competency, and I think Shanuka was not there, right? And today, that is trial balance, right? So before we get into the activity, let me summarize what we have discussed last week. Okay, වුවමනාවෙන් හැමෝම බලන් ඉන්න ලස්සන පාඩම. හරිද? පුතේ, I told you, in the process of accounting, we have number of functions, right, to be performed. There are number of functions. The first function is recognition and measurement. Right? Okay. Now, this is the first function. We have to recognize and measure transactions. Do you know, once we have recognized and measured transactions, we have to issue source document. We have to issue source document. At this moment, I think I explained that these are last week as well. We have discussed about all the source documents. Examples, receipts, payment vouchers, invoices, journal vouchers, petty cash, right? Payment vouchers, right? So we have done. And our next function is recording. Okay. Once we have recorded a transaction, we have to issue prime entry book, or we have to issue prime entry books. So to record the transactions in prime entry books, and that is the second function. And at this moment, we all have discussed about the prime entry books as well. What are the prime entry books we have? Cash book is there, bank account, petty cash book, purchases journal, sales journal, general journal. We have discussed about all the prime entry books. Then I told you, after preparing the prime entry books, Pratap, we have to classify them. Classification. And the classification is performed in here, the ledger. Okay. Ledger is the place usually the debit and the credit of transactions are completed. When you watch the recording, you can note it down somewhere in the tutorial. Ledger. Ledger is the place where we complete the double entry system in the normal course of activities. And after the ledger, right? After preparing the ledger accounts have to be balanced. I think at this moment I have taught you how to balance a ledger account as well. And after that, those balances have to be summarized. Right? So, summarization. Right? Summarization is performed in two places. First one is a trial balance. trial balance, right? And we have another summary, B, පුතා ඒ තමයි financial statements. Financial statements. So these are the summaries that we have to prepare. පුතේ, I told you that හොඳට අහගන්න මම මේ කියන දේ. We have discussed about source documents. We also have discussed about the prime entry books and the ledger. We discussed about the ledger. Today, this particular competency is introduced to concentrate on the trial balance. How to prepare the trial balance. And I gave you the definition of a trial balance. I told you it is a list of ledger accounts of a business. Puta, do you know, right? Do you know, okay, we discussed about the preparation of the financial statements in grade 11. Grade 11. We discussed the preparation of the financial statements in grade 11. Last week, මම මේක පොඩ්ඩක් මකනවා කැමති ළමයි පුතේ කැමති ළමයින්ට මේක පස්සේ ලියා ගන්න. හරිද? Then I told you something else. Today, I told you that the trial balance is a statement. Give me a minute. Right? Hold on for a second. Today, now I'm going to show you, right, a draft format of a trial balance. Then මේක හොඳට අහගෙන ඉන්න. Right? Let me share the screen. පුතා. Now, before that, I think we know this, right? We have 5 types of ledger accounts. බලන්න පුතා මේව ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවද කියන්නේ? හරිද? I think everybody knows these things, right? We have 5 types of ledger accounts, right? There are 5 types of ledger accounts, right? First one, there are assets accounts. Assets. Number 2, we have liabilities. And the third category is equity, where the fourth is income, and the last category is expenses. So these are the 5 categories that we can recognize, right, as the ledger accounts. Right? Then I told you, right, when I was explaining these balances, I told you normally the balances of these ledger accounts are found in, right, either sides of debit or credit. Sorry, Puta, assets. Normal balance of assets is found in the debit side. Okay, debit. And liabilities, normal balance is found in the credit side. Equity, normal balance is found in the credit side. Income as well. The normal balance is found in the credit side, but expenses in the debit side. Now, these are the normal balances of these types of ledger accounts. In preparing the trial balance also, we used the same principle. Last week note එක මම recording එක දාලා තිබ්බ හැමෝම බලන්න ඕනේ එක. I told you very clearly that the trial balance is not an account. It is not an account, and even it is not a part of the financial statements either. Right? Therefore, it is a statement with 2 sides, 2 columns. Right? If I draw this as the trial balance, if I name this as the trial balance, this trial balance has 2 columns. Once again, it is not an account, but it has two columns, debit column and credit column. Okay, debit column and credit column. Accordingly, the balances of right, the balances of ledger accounts are recorded in the debit column or credit columns. දැන් මේක හරියම ලේසි දෙයක්. හරිද? Assets, liability, equity, income and expenses. ඕවට අපි ගාව තියෙන ledger account balances ටික නේද පුතේ? If you notice, if you recognize a balance of an asset, that balance should be recorded in the debit column. Debit column. Okay? Because see, the normal balance of assets is found in the debit side, and the liabilities in the credit column. Equity, credit column. Income in the credit column. But expenses will record it in the debit column. හරිද? මම හිතන්නේ last week අපි activity එකක් කළා. හරි පුතේ. Now I'm taking you to the දැන් බලන්න මේක කියලා දීපු දේ තේරුම. මේ අපි දන්න දේවල්. We have done this before. There are 5 types of ledger accounts. Please study on which side we received their normal balances. Accordingly, the balances of assets and expenses are recorded in the debit column, and the balances of income, equity, and the liabilities are recorded in the credit column of the triangles. මේ අමාරු දේවල්ද පුතා මම කියලා දෙන්නේ නෑ. හරිද? Right. Now I'm taking you to the tutorial today. Puta, I give you exactly, right, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Do you see I have given a list of ledger accounts? Today, please take out your pencil. Pencil අරගෙන ඔයා මේ හැම එකක් ඉස්සරහින්ම capital. What is the category of the capital? පුතා, you have to say capital is equity. Penciling. හරිද? මෙන්න මේක ඉස්සරහ ලියන්න. Right? Capital කියලා දාගත්තා. Capital is equity. Equity. Sales, income. Can you do this? හරිද? ශනුක අපේ කවුද විදින පුතා? Right? Resin, Pavani, Roshani, Sanuka, and Shanuka. Right? Pude. Can you do this? It is very important for you to identify the category of ledger account provided. Start it now. Right. Time is up. Have you done this? Capital is equity account. Sales is income. Check your answers, please. ඉතුරු ටික බලන්න හරිද කියලා. Purchases, expense. Expense. Okay. And carriage inwards, even that is expense. ඒක expense account. Received commissions, income. Received commissions, income account. Income. හොඳට බලන්න හරිද කියලා. මොකද ඕක දන්නවනම් trial balance එක හදන්න එක අමාරු නෑ. පැහැදිලිද? Then received rent, once again income. Income. හොඳට බලන්න ඊට පස්සේ cash at bank, overdrawn bank. පුතා, normally cash at bank is an asset. But I think we have worked with the bank reconciliation statement. Do you know bank overdraft is a liability? Liability. Okay. Then administration salaries, expense. Expense. Electricity, once again expense. හොඳට බලන්න ඉන්නකෝ. Because based on this only we can develop the trial balance. Bank loan, liability. Liability. Okay. Creditors, another liability. After that, interest on bank. Interest on bank loan. Sorry. Interest on bank loan is an expense. So yeah, expense. Expense. Then staff salaries, expense. It's an expense. Debtors, asset. 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 Cash in hand, පුතේ, asset. Asset. Okay. පුතා, හොඳට අහගන්න. ගොඩක් ළමයි හිතන්නේ stock asset 1st of January කියන්නේ asset එකක් කියලා. But do you know, theoretically, it is not an asset. It becomes an expense. Opening stock, it becomes an expense. Okay. Then land at cost, asset. Building at cost, again, asset. පුතා, මම කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේකයි. හරිද? Most of the students, they don't know how to study this subject. Most of the students try to learn this subject by heart. But business studies, of course, you can do it, but not for this part, accounting. Right? Puta, now what I'm going to do is, I'm using this particular classification. So based on these, I am going to prepare the trial balance. Then Puta, in answering this one, shall I remove this? Shall I erase this one? I have finished writing Pavani, Oshani, Resen, Sanuka and Shanuka. ළමයි ගොඩක් එන්නේ attendance ඇහෙන අඩු 22ක් 23ක් ඉන්න පන්තියේ ළමයි 6යි අද ඉන්නේ නේද? Some have informed me that they have power cuts today. right? So I think that I feel that because of I'm providing the recordings, most of the students are not attending the live class. Okay, it doesn't matter as since you are watching the recording, but Puta, you have to try your best to attend the live class, okay? Because if you have any doubts, you can clear it at the live class, right? So have you done this, Putin? Have you done this, Pavani, Resen, Shanuka and Sanuka? Have you done this? Right, good, good. Now, move to the next page, please. Turn to the next page, where I have given the format of a trial balance, made in trial balance format. It's very simple. See, right? In this column, we record the description. Up on description. And here if it's a debit balance, record the value here. If it is a credit balance, record the value in. Now I'm going to explain this activity using an Excel sheet. Right? පුතා දැන් මාත් එක්කම පුළුවන් දරුවෝ කරගෙන. හරිද? Now this is the trial balance. At the top we should write the trial balance. Trial balance. Right? And don't forget, if you have to prepare a trial balance, you have to mention that the figures, this is the debit side. Figures are in rupees. Credit side, figures are in rupees. Debit or DR is fine. Right? Now, what I've told you, once again, let's summarize what we have discussed previously. What I've told you, Puta? I told you in the debit column, you can record the balances of assets and expenses. And in the credit column, what we can record? The balances of incomes, equity, and the liabilities. Right. Okay. What is the first balance of us? What is the first balance provided to us? Right. Capital. Right. Capital asset. 1st of January. Okay. First write this down. 1st of January 2021. Now, Oshani, tell me, in which column we have recorded? Shanuka, what is the category of capital? Capital is equity. Right? The value is 250,000. In which column we should record it? In the debit column or in the credit column? Very good. Record the balance of the capital account 250,000 in the credit column. Why? Capital is equity. The balance of equity accounts are recorded in the credit column. And the next is sales. Sales is an income. Income recorded in which column? Credit column. Excuse me. Right. Now, Sales. What is sales? Sales is an income. Then put mama karna vidhira make a complete karagin and not. Now, on which column we have to record it? Where do we record the balance of the sales? Sales is recorded in the credit side. How much is it? 180,000. Lamai, listen to me. This is not a ledger account. It is just a statement with two columns, debit and credit. In the debit column, what we can record? The balances of assets and expenses. In the credit column, liabilities, equity, income. Right. The next one, carriage inwards. Sorry, purchases. Right, purchases here. And the next entry, record purchases. Record purchases. Now, purchases, right? Purchases is what is purchases? It's an expense. So record the balance of the purchases 70,000 in the debit column. Debit column. පුතා මේ අවස්ථාව ඉගෙන ගන්න තියෙන්නේ මේක විතරයි වාට. Recognize the category of account and accordingly record it in the trial balance. This is the theory how to follow. Right. Our next figure is carriage inwards. Write it down. Carriage inwards. Right? I think you have written that the carriage inwards is an expense. Record 6,000 in the debit column. Debit column. Now, once again, if you can't understand, you are free to ask questions. Right? And after the carriage inwards, it is received commission. Commissions. Received commissions check whether you have written it as an income, then it is correct. Income, the balance is recorded in the credit column, 15,000. 15,000. 15,000. Are you there? Right. And the next is received rent. Received now puta. It is an income, right? Received rent. Income. Record the received rent account balance 5,000 in the credit column of the trial balance. 5,000. ඊළඟට හොඳට කියවන්න. Cash at bank. Puta, normally, I repeat, normally, cash at bank is an asset. It's an asset. But here, I have given that the cash at bank is an overdrawn balance. It's an OD balance. Then it's a liability, 10,000. 10,000. 10,000. Right? Then administration salaries. Administration salaries. Then account එක දැක්ක ගමන් පුතා ඔළුවේ කල්පනා කරන්න. සර් කිව්වා මොකද්ද මේ account එක? What is this account? Admin salaries is an expense account. So record the balance 24,000 in the debit column. Debit column. Okay. Debit column. And electricity 6,000. Electricity, what is the category of electricity? Again, an expense. Record it 6,000 in the debit column. Debit column. Okay. After that, bank loan. Bank loan, write the next account. Don't miss out anything. Any account cannot be missed. Bank loan, Lamai, it is a liability. Record the balance in the credit column, 60,000. 60,000 bank loan. $60,000. And after the bank loan, we have creditors. Write the name creditors in the first column. Then decide what is creditors. Creditors Creditors is a liability. Record the balance of the creditors 30,000 in the credit column. Then මෙච්චර නැද්දවසට පාඩම් කරන්න තියෙන්නේ මේ ටික විතරයිනේ නේද මේ බලන්න assets are debit පැත්තේ දාන්න liabilities equity and income in the credit column again expenses balances in the debit column ඔච්චරයි trial balance කොට ඉගෙන ගන්න තියෙන්නේ even if you right we get this question even in the sometimes in the O-level paper so this is what you have to use. Okay, good. And what is the next one? It is creditors 30,000. It's a liability. The next is interest on bank loan. First, write the name. Interest on bank loan. Okay. Interest on bank loan is an expense. I think everybody knows that. If you do not know, at least learn it today. Interest on bank loan is an expense. So record the interest paid on interest on bank loan 14,000 here. 14,000. Okay, but 14,000. Then staff salaries. Staff salaries expense worth 30,000 rupees. 30,000 rupees expense. 30,000. Okay. And after the staff salaries, we have debtors, right? Debtors in the description column. As you write, think, what is debtors? Debtors is an asset. So record the balance of debtors 50,000 in the debit column because assets are recorded in the debit column of the trial. Okay, 50,000. After that, cash in hand. Cash in hand, 40,000 rupees debit column. අපි හැමෝම දන්නවා cash කියන්නේ asset එකක්. 40,000 debit column. But I'm extremely sorry, I can't switch on my webcam today, okay? 40,000. Then I told you stock. Stock as at 1st of January 2021. Some students say recognize it as an asset. It doesn't matter. But the most correct answer is it is not an asset. It becomes an expense. So it doesn't matter even it is an asset or expense. We record the balance in the debit column. See, 20,000 asset, sorry, expense. Then we have, after the stock, our next account is land at cost. Land at cost is 200,000. 200,000. It's an asset debit column. Record it in the debit column. Then building at cost. Building at cost. 90,000 debit column. Debit column. Okay. ඔන්න පැටියෝ මම චුට්ටක් පොඩි කරලා පෙන්නන්නම්. This is what we have prepared as our trial balance. Here we have it. Now, let's get the addition of the trial balance. අපි addition එක trial balance. හරිද? ළමයි දැන් පුතාලා මේක මම හිතන්නේ හැමෝටම එකතු කරන්න අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන් නේද? ඈ? Right. Let's get the addition of the trial balance and see whether the total of the debit column is equal to the credit column. Yeah? So for that, I'm using a formula in the Excel sheet. පුතාලා මේක තනියම manually calculate කරන්න වෙනවා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට. The total of the debit side is 550,000. Let's see the credit side. ඔයාගේ ලස්සන්ට. The addition of the credit side and the debit side is exactly 550,000 each. It is because this trial balance has been prepared based on the double entry system. බලන්න පුතේ තේරුණාද? හරිද බලන්න. Okay. Great. ඔන්නෝමයි අපි trial balance එකක් හදන්න. පුතේ now if you can මම පුතාට විනාඩි 10ක් දෙන්න. හරිද? Have you correctly prepared this? පුතේ the next activity given in the tutorial. පුතා හැමෝම ගිහිල්ලා confident පිට එකක් නෙමෙයි. I have given you a list of ledger accounts. Right? Puta, can you prepare the trial balance using these balances of ledger accounts? The format is given here. Can you do it? Shall we give a try? අපේ කවුද ළමයිගේ පොඩ කාලා බලමු. ඔෂානි, can you do it පුතා? පවනි, රෙසෙන්, සනුක, වැරදුනට කමක් නැහැ. ශානුක and Triptika. Can you answer the second activity? It's all about recognizing the category of the given ledger account. Vashani, can you do it today? Dishans, you were there, right? I don't know, he has left the meeting. Can you do it? Okay, great. පටන් ගන්න බලන්න. මම මගේ පැත්තෙන් උත්තරේ හදාගෙන යනවා. right පුතේ. මොකද්ද කරන්න තියෙන්නේ? First identify. Staff salaries කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Expense. You don't want to write it on a side. Now keep it in your mind. Office rent expense, electricity expense, then on which column we record it? Debit. Once again, let me remind, the balances of assets and expenses must be recorded in the debit column of the trial balance. The balances of liabilities, equity and income has to be recorded in the credit column of the trial balance. How did the right? Hurry up. Okay. මම මේ පැත්තේ උත්තරේ හදාගෙන යන ගමන් ඉන්නේ. Right? So please answer this activity and try your best to get the trial balance agreed. Right? මේකත් මම agree වෙන්න තමයි හදලා තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? Right. ඉක්මනට හදන්න බලන්න. ඉතින් අද දවසේ මේක තනියම කරගත්තොත් පුතා අද දවසේ තිබ්බ achievement එක හරි. ඒක තමයි වෙන්නත් ඕනේ. Right? හරියට. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, okay? If you have any doubts, you can ask me. There is an account called bad debts. Bad debts is an expense. Expense. Bad debts. Donations. Even that is an expense. Donations is an expense. Then decide on which column you are going to record it. I told you, let me remind. Stock as at 1st April, sorry, 1st January is an expense, okay? Expense. Expense. This time, Putha, I have given just the cash at bank. It is not an overdrawn balance. Today, when it is not given as the overdrawn, remember the cash at bank has to be recorded as an asset. Whether you have found the addition බලන්න හරියට දාගත්තද කියලා. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම පුතේ the addition of the debit has to be equal to the addition of the credit. Okay. I have found my answer. I have found my answer. Anyone else in the class? Anyone else in the class? පොඩි try එකක් දෙන්න මං කියවනේ පුතා. දැන් පුතාගේ කැපවීම පුතා ඉගෙන ගන්න උත්සාහ කරන එක මාර වටිනවා. හා? හරිද? පොඩි try එකක් දෙන්න. Yes, one has finished. One has finished. Great. Pavani, come on, everybody. Come up, come up, come up. It's all right. ළමයි සියදමට වගේ මෝඩ පෙන්වන්න විදියක් නේ අපරාධේ. Come up. Okay, let me show you the correct answer. ළමයි, this is the trial balance that we have to prepare based on the second activity. Check your answers, please. Staff salaries, office rent, electricity, advertising, bad debts, water bill, interest on bank loan, donations. All these are expenses accounts. Therefore, we have to record it in the debit column. Debit column. Okay. Received commissions and received discounts. They are income accounts. They are income accounts. So it is recorded in the credit column. Credit column. Okay. Discounts allowed, expense. Discount allowed කියන්නේ පුතා expense. Therefore, it is in the debit column. Sales, income, credit column. Credit column. Purchases and stock, opening stock. Both these are expenses accounts. So we record them in the debit column. Debit column. Land, buildings, debtors, cash in hand, cash at bank. Okay. All of those accounts are assets accounts. Assets accounts. So we record it in the debit column. We record it in the debit column. Debit column. Okay. And the capital is equity credit column. ඒක තමයි පුතා පවනි ඒක තමයි පැටියෝ interest on bank මම ඉස්සලා ගානෙත් කිව්වා interest on bank loan කියන්නේ පුතා expense එකක් ටක් ගාලා හදාගන්න trial balance එක tally වෙන්නම ඕන the trial balance is tallied okay capital is equity credit column bank loan liability credit column and finally creditors it's a liability too credit column දැන් ඕක පුතේ කරගන්න පුළුවන් නම් මතක තියාගන්න right I'm always telling you O-level accounting O-level business and accounting studies is not a difficult subject everybody can obtain an A pass for this subject හැමෝම ආසයින් A pass එකක් වැඩි වෙනවා නම් නේද everybody can do it මම කියන විදිහට පාඩම් කරන්න okay this is what I'm always telling this to you to my school kids also right just follow my directions in studying this particular subject see I පාරකට ගිහින් ඉන්න පල්ලෙහාට මේ බලන්න in the debit column do you see I have recorded only the expenses and assets HR and the balances of income liability and equity is recorded in the credit column and check and see the trial balance is agreed at 630,000 rupees the trial balance is agreed at 630,000 rupees okay බලන්න පුතේ හරිද කියලා right let me take a small feedback Oshan do you understand this right trial balance the preparation of the trial balance Pavani Resen Sanuka Shanuka and Triptika do you understand it's very simple we have only 5 types of ledger accounts right the balances of assets and expenses are recorded in the debit column and the balances of income liability and equity are recorded in the credit column Pavani Therma Resen Fernando and Sanuka and Shanuka Triptika I need your feedback Triptika Sanuka Uday, if you have any difficulty, right, in understanding this particular competency, right? Okay, Sanuka, very good. Puta, always remember, yes, Puta, that's very simple, of course. It's very simple, right? Puta, move to this theory. Assets in the debit column, liabilities in the credit column, income, equity in the credit column, expenses in the debit column. What should I think? Right. So, my plan is to stay 2 more weeks in this particular competency because next week I'm going to discuss something like this and prepare the ledger accounts. We balance the ledger accounts, then we post the information to the ledger. That will give you a complete understanding of the trial balance, how to prepare the ledger accounts and how to balance them and how to post the information to the trial balance. හරිද? පොඩි activities පුතේ ලොකු ඒවා නෙමෙයි. transaction 5යි 6යි ඒ වගේ පොඩි transactions අපි අපි කරා. පැහැදිලිද? So පුතා, once again, let me invite you. I'll be uploading this particular session as soon as possible to the YouTube. Then I'll send you the link. You have to go through this particular link. මේ link එකෙන් යන්න ඕනේ. ගිහිල්ලා හොඳට study කරන්න. Right? And I have told you, I repeatedly said that the balances of assets and expenses is what we record in the debit column. The balances of liability, equity, and income is what we record in the credit column. Is that clear to you, Puta? Is that clear to you? Okay. Great. Then, this is the end of the second session of the 11th competency. We will again meet on next Monday with a new activity, right, which is targeting to prepare the trial balance of a business. So until that happens, have a good week, right? And the season of Christmas is right close to us. So I think it is a period where everybody enjoys, right? Even me, young and old, every religion, right? So Buddha, once again, whatever it is, right? This has to be your main, right, responsibility. Study, okay? Study to obtain the maximum outcome, maximum result, right, of your talents. So once again, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So Buddha, until we meet again on next week, good night, and may God bless you. Thank you very much. Good night.